All right, so random sampling your data is something that a few of you will need to do. It depends on what type of project you're doing and where you're getting your data from. So basically, before you do your math, you should take a look at this and see, do you need this random sample your data or do you not need randomly sample your data, okay? So if you are collecting your if you're collecting your data from a survey, okay, then you don't need to randomly sample your data unless you have a lot of data. Okay, remember you're supposed to have 40 pieces of data for correlation coefficient. If you have more than that, that's okay unless you get a very large amount. So if you had 60 or over, you would want to randomly sample it. Okay, so if you got your data from a survey and you have under 60 pieces of data for your correlation coefficient, no random sampling. If you're doing chi-squared, you're supposed to have 100 pieces of data. All right, so if you have 100 pieces of data, then you are okay. If you have more than 100, it's okay until you hit about 150. If you have 150 or over, you need to randomly sample out 100 pieces of that data. Okay, so that's surveys. You're probably not going to have to randomly sample it. If you get your data off the internet, this is something new that I just learned, how to tell when you should randomly sample or not. If you get your data off the internet, you need to randomly sample the data no matter what. Okay, in order to do that, it means you have to collect more than the minimum. So if I'm doing a correlation coefficient project, I need to collect 60 pieces of data, and then I'm going to randomly sample out 40 of them. All right, that's incredibly important because your data is not random because you're taking it from a set of data that's already existing. So we have to be able to randomly sample it. If I'm doing a chi-squared and getting it off the internet, this is not super likely because normally if you do chi-squared, you're doing a survey. But if you are doing chi-squared and you collect your data from the internet, which a couple of you may be doing, you're supposed to have 100 pieces of data. You need to get 150 so that you can randomly sample out 100. All right, so I'm supposed to collect at least 150, and then I'm going to randomly sample out 100 of them. All right, so make sure that you take a look at this. If you're not sure whether or not you're supposed to randomly sample it, talk to your teacher. Okay, if you do all of the math without randomly sampling and you were supposed to, you're gonna have to redo it.